you state your name or artist moniker or both for the interview, please?
Yeah. I'm France Rreally.
Is there any meaning or story behind your artist name?
Not directly, I would say. I think I just, like, one day came to the conclusion that you can, like, change your name whenever you wanted, for whatever reason you wanted, and so it doesn't have to be, like, a big, major thing, so I'm changing it.
Did you have any type of...
Folks coming in over here.
Okay.
Oh. It was just something that I brainstormed, and when you feel it's right, it just clicked.
Uh-huh.
You know, and so I was like, I'm gonna go with that, because I changed my name to, like, other things before then, until I changed it to this name.
Do you want to talk about any of the prior names that you used? You don't have to.
I feel like I was just, like, snatching little bits of inspiration, and so, like, the other names that I've used are, like, still in my videos as the bylines, because I didn't go back and change them or anything. I felt like they were, like, historical markers of, like, the person that I was at that time, and so I never changed them, but they're all there.
You use 2 R's in the second name, really.
Yeah.
Is there a particular pronunciation that you think of for that, or why use 2 R's?
No special pronunciation. I think I was just using it for emphasis and as a way of, like, playing with, like, words themselves, because I kind of like saying things in, like, weird ways, or, like, spelling things differently that, like, seems, like, connected to how you can, like, fiddle with, like, words and language however, like, you want, just to play.
Where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in Southern California. I grew up in Orange County, in Irvine, California.
How do you see yourself fitting into the New York artistic community, and do you think it was shaped at all by growing up in California?
I feel like it's, like, a difficult thing for me to, like, conceptualize how I fit into, like, artistic community. Like, I know that I have, like, friends and, like, collaborators and, like, people that I make stuff with, and or, like, do screenings with and stuff like that. But I feel like just beyond, like, kind of, like, being, like, one person who's, like, participating in, like, a DIY, like, video art, film, like, environment. Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but I think in terms of like growing up in California, I think that I was like always interested in art, but not quite like working on my own artwork in like a dedicated way until like after I moved to the East Coast. And I think there are like things I can look back on when I lived in California of like these like budding instances of the things that I work on now, but they seem like very different like times and very different like mindsets to me, like towards art making and like just like producing like creative things and creative works.
So what I'm getting from that is there is some effect, although maybe minimal, on kind of shaping you as you fit in with your peers and friends in this community of other people. Basically, your other friends are making similar things or are making different things but are around you and who you are kind of setting up screening stuff with. Is that right? Or is there some, do you think is there anything else you'd like to say about how those experiences affect you now in the present time?
I think the experiences I had growing up, like, definitely affect who I am now, like, a lot. But I think I've, like, collected, like, these, like, instances of inspiration and kind of, like, visual references that I've carried with me. I think though the like things that I've like really liked about like making art and like finding other people who make art, really I kind of like found those more so in New York, I would say. Does that?
So you found, yeah, that's great. So you found something similar in New York that you felt inside, and so on the whole, you don't have to answer this question simply. You can elaborate on it. I'll ask a very black and white question.
Okay.
But you can add subtlety to which to. On the whole, do you think that you are the same or different as the other people making work around you? In your approach, in your approach to creation, in your product or your process or anything that comes to mind.
I think there's like, I am gonna go in and like add nuance because I feel like it is like a complex answer, because there's definitely things I think that are really similar between like that I share with like my friends and like other people making art, and things that I learn from them or like we learn together by making things, or just kind of like topics that we're like both thinking about and we talk about it, and so we kind of like grow this like idea that like exists in like both of our heads. But I also think that like I've spent like a lot of time trying to like conceptualize the things that I make, and like I've been like working really hard to like try to make things like intuitively and just like based on different inspirations, and then kind of go back and try and understand those things so that I can kind of zone in on the stuff that I think is like really interesting, and I can like find the stuff that I think is like really driving me and like making like my artwork feel like new and like unique to me, and so I think there's definitely a mix, you know, and I'm definitely trying to make things that don't feel like something that I've seen before. I kind of want to like tap into like different worlds and like experiences and things that seem like exciting to me, and that's usually like things that I haven't seen
before. Okay, so we gotta do a little bit of imagining for this next question.
Okay.
Okay, so
should I close my eyes?
If you want. Up to you. Okay, so imagine that you are at a friend's birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another friend is there.
Yeah.
With a romantic partner. New romantic partner you haven't met yet.
Okay.
Okay, you with me?
Yeah.
Now that romantic partner asks you, what do you do, and how do you respond to that?
I'm saying like realistically.
I'm setting the prompt up in your mind, and now that person asks you, oh, hey, good to meet you, what do you do? So with that prompt, how would you respond?
How I would respond? I'd do a little dance. I'd shake my hips a little bit. Usually I would say that I make art.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. And then I wait for the follow-up question.
What kind of art?
I make video art and movies. I do performance, and I am recently making a lot more stuff with my hands and like doing more sculpture, which I don't have a ton of experience with, but it's very fun to me lately.
Nice. Okay. How long have you been doing video art?
How long?
Yeah, when did you start doing it?
So I kind of like learned how to edit videos in my journalism program in college, and it was kind of my like junior year or something, or sophomore year, I don't remember, that I took a class on documentaries that I loved, and I didn't love every class I took in journalism, but this one was so cool, and I think it changed my life, because I was like I was doing all of these stories that were like a lot more journalistic and like had some kind of like story, you know, some kind of news thing. And then I started like just like brainstorming more, and I was like, oh, like I want this one to be like a experimental abstract documentary about the library, and I'm not gonna have any like traditional interviews, blah blah blah. And I would just kind of like have all of these ideas, and then like one day I realized, I was like, oh, I just want to do whatever I want, actually, you know. I don't want to follow your rules.
Alright. Alright, so I'll ask you 2 more questions.
Okay.
Wrapping up here. Pretty good interview.
Okay. It's been really good.
Do you think making art and having fun go together?
I think it depends on the person, and it depends on the art.
Okay.
For my personal approach, yes.
Never.
I abhor fun. Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't really be doing it all the time if it wasn't fun. But I don't think every like inherently art is fun.
Do you feel that when you're looking at a piece, you have some feeling about the artist and whether it was fun or not in their creation process?
It's hard to say.
In other words, you're saying not every artist, so now my follow-up question to that is, do you think you can distinguish when artists are having fun when they're not? Or what leads you to that knowledge that some artists are having fun and some aren't? Or totally different?
I think you can't always like really, I think it's like really, would be really difficult to look at a final piece and like determine if the artist had fun making it, just because it's like a final product that's been like tweaked and edited and kind of like made to look a certain way for a certain reason. So unless the piece was about fun and having fun, I think it would be hard. But I just think that there's a lot of art that's just like about very like serious things, or like the process in making it is like more about rigor, or kind of about like using scientific processes or something like that, where it's not necessarily fun, or it's not like, it's just like tapping into like different parts of like the human experience than fun, and I think that's like okay, you know.
Okay. Last question. Any goals or projects for the future you want to talk about?
Wow. This is like the part at the end of like a late night show interview where they're like, oh, like, do you want to plug anything? You know?
You can think of it that
any
way.
Any movies coming out?
If you want. Or you can just talk about something on your mind that's fun, you know? You just make something up. Or you tell me to go to hell.
Well, so I'm like very slowly working on a video that I shot in Finland, and it just has so much like post-production like work to do.
You got
and
the post-production team on it.
Yeah. Me, myself, and I are working around the clock.
I'm so glad you could see it. wait to have this interview.
I gotta get right back to it. When are we cutting this thing off?
Last question.
My manager said this would be over. But yeah, I'm working on that video, hoping to finish it sometime soon. I have like this long list of like projects that are on my mind or in some stage of like being worked on. I shot another movie with my friend Emily, all around like different places in New York that I just want to edit into something. I'm like making some cool sculptures, and I'm kind of like really, really excited about learning about biomaterials and like kind of like coding like computers to work like circuits, and kind of like learning a little bit about like robotics and sensors and stuff. And there's some cool like introduction like beginner projects and things that I want to start on, hopefully like this summer or something. But it's something that is really, really cool.